Are you serious?
I've got a fire in my eyes. I'm burning brighter than the sunlight. You orchestrated my escape. Now I'm awake. I feel alive for the first time. You ignite the fire in my eyes.
Hello, folks. Welcome to one more edition. This is the Brother Marcos radio show, broadcasting directly from São Paulo, Brazil, to the rest of the world for people in the 5 continents of the world, as far as I know. May God bless you. May God bless you. We're going to talk about spiritual things in the perspective of a believer of Jesus Christ. But even if you're not a believer in Jesus Christ, I guess that today's show is going to interest you because it's going to be a little creepy, a little scary. We're going to talk about the drug from hell, ayahuasca, Santo Daime. Have you heard about it? That's the drug that comes from a mixture of 2 different plants from the Amazon jungle. And my friends, I'll tell you, this is the most powerful drug ever used by humankind in order to get in touch with demonic entities, with demons of all kinds, all flavors, all sizes, all colors. And some horrible stories we're going to talk about today. And I think it's going to be interesting. And I'll tell you, especially if you're listening, my friend, to this show from the United States or from Europe, very materialistic societies, you think many atheists there that think, well, there's nothing beyond this material world. I'll tell you, if you read this stuff here that I have here with me, if you listen to this show and you still don't believe that there is a spiritual world, there's something wrong with you. You are stubborn as a mule. You are stubborn. Because, it's very clear that there's something out there, and many of those things are not good. They are not good at all. And you need the protection. You need the protection because one day you're not going to be here anymore. One day you're going to be dead. And you have a spirit, and your spirit will be out there in that spiritual world of which you don't know absolutely anything, and you'll be completely vulnerable to all the horrible things that are there. So you need, my friends, what you need is the protection of Jesus Christ, because He died at the cross for you. He died for your sins, and if you accept His sacrifice, you will have this bodyguard. In fact, you will have this safe haven. Okay, you're gonna be living in a place where no demonic entity will be able to get closer to you. Okay, and even in this world, going to have the protection of holy angels and the protection of God Himself for your life, because those demons are very active, even in this material world right here. Okay, very good. So before we start, I'm not going to talk about politics today, even though Brazil is really on fire. It's on fire, my friends. It's crazy what's happening here. The president is going to be impeached, but she's fighting like crazy. So there's talk about civil war, violence in the streets, protests. So please pray for Brazil. Pray for Brother Marcos if you can. During the night of, from Friday to Saturday at 1:30 a.m., I woke up with machine gun fire. It's a horrible feeling, I'll tell you. It's a horrible feeling. It's a and they were exchanging fire for half an hour. And we don't know if, it's just drug dealers. Sometimes drug dealers, they do that. They like, to impose terror or just like to show off, but they were like automatic rifles and machine gun fire for half an hour, 40 minutes. So very, very, very scary. Please pray for Brother Marcos. Pray for Brazil if you wish, okay? Because it's a complicated situation here, and very sad, because we see that you are heading the same direction. Because Obama was there, I think he still is, in Cuba, and he's meeting the bloody dictator Raúl Castro, okay? Raúl Castro, the dictator who liked to shoot people in the head himself, this bloody psychopath. And those people, they sleep well. Yes, they really don't care, because they don't have a conscience. They're completely possessed by demons, okay? And Obama is there celebrating a bloody dictatorship. The day that Obama arrived, the Cuban dictatorship arrested 50 people, many women among them, what they call the damas de blanco, the mujeres de blanco, the ladies in white that protest against the dictatorship. They're all in jail right now. Their dresses are not very white right now because they're in jail. And 250 people arrested before he arrived there. And Obama was taking selfies with the monument of Che Guevara, okay, on the back, in the background. I mean, this is, I think, one of the lowest days in the history of the United States of America, okay? You have your president taking selfies and pictures with Che Guevara, a murderer, a sadist, a person who killed, thousands upon thousands of people. And he was there taking pictures with Che Guevara in the background. He's lucky that Che Guevara is not alive, because Che Guevara liked to murder gay people, okay? Yes, he didn't like gay people. He would send gay people to the concentration camps, or he would kill them, okay? So Obama is lucky that Che Guevara is not alive anymore. Okay, enough of politics, my friends. Let's talk about what's happening in the spiritual world, and especially, I think, if you follow, my friends, if you follow Freedom Friday show on the Kapow Radio Network, and I love that show. It's very interesting. You know, my friends, that horrible things are happening all the time, and I'll tell you, those things, you may say, well, those things always happen, and to a point it's true, but they're increasing in frequency, and they're also increasing in the horror, okay, in the terror of those actions, things that we never saw before. Here in Brazil, just this week, I'll tell you, there was this girl. She is a 15-year-old girl, and she had a 20-year-old boyfriend, a lover, and of course, her mother probably was not very happy about it. You know what she did? She said to her boyfriend, just go there and rape my mother, because I'm tired of her, I don't like her. So the guy did that. He went to the house, he tied up the mother, okay, his mother-in-law, okay, and they were not married, okay, but anyway, beat her up and raped her, okay, by the orders of the 15-year-old daughter. So, of course, police found out all about it, and as you can imagine, he's in jail, and 3 lives destroyed. Okay, that's how Satan works. And we had another horrible situation here of this boy. He's a 16-year-old boy, 16. And again, his mother found out that he was into drugs. And she was very upset, and she was like nagging him. Okay, I mean, poor woman, what can you do? So she was telling him, stop doing that, stop doing that. You know what he did? He killed her and chopped her head off. Just like ISIS, chop his mother's head off, my friends. I mean, what kind of demon must a person have in order to do that? This is not normal. This such a hatred against your own mother. I mean, even the worst psychopaths, they would kill everybody else before they would do anything to their own mothers. Even mafia bosses, they would not do that. But that's what we are seeing today all around us. And I'll tell you, that's because people are getting involved with the occult, and they don't even realize. They think it's fun to just play with tarot cards and with the Ouija board, because they think the devil doesn't exist. So what? What's the problem? And my friends, sex, like, this girl, this 15-year-old girl, she was having sex with this 20-year-old guy. And this guy was not a good person because he was able, he was willing to rape that woman. So, he passed several demons to her, to the girl. That's how it works. Same thing for the boy. He was into drugs. Drugs open portals, open doors, okay? And they give permission for demonic entities to attach to you. And they will make you do horrible things. So we come to the subject of our show today, which is the ayahuasca, the drug from hell. Because of all drugs, I mean, this is the worst. We just saw this last week. You remember that I was talking about the grandnephew of this very famous comedian, TV celebrity here in Brazil, that he simply went nuts and he was into meditation and he started fasting and he took a bus, disappeared for a week, and they found out his dead body later because he just went to this desert beach and he drowned himself in the sea. But now, my friends, we found out that he was into the ayahuasca cult. Here in Brazil, it's called the Santo Daime, or also the Union of the Vegetable. Yes, that's a very funny name. I mean, the name may be funny, but there's nothing funny about that cult. Okay, União do Vegetal. Okay, it reminds me of VeggieTales. VeggieTales. It's gotta be VeggieTales. No, my friends, VeggieTales is fun. It's good entertainment for kids, but this is deadly poison from hell. Union of the Vegetable. And he basically took that thing and he got so crazy, so paranoid, that he took a bus, started fasting for a week, went to a beach and drowned himself in the sea. So you see the level of psychosis. I have a friend here in Brazil, and his brother was into this thing, the União do Vegetal cult, and he took some ayahuasca. And you know what he did? He got lost in the streets. He started wandering, just like a bun, wandering in the streets, and like a beggar, with voices in his head telling him to kill his wife and children. Completely crazy, in a psychotic attack in his mind, okay? And demons talking to him, saying, because you never say, you may say, well, but this is just psychological. Oh, it's just psychological? I mean, you never see someone having a psychotic episode and, with voices telling him, you should do good works, you should, help people. No, it's always, you should kill, you should murder, you should set things on fire. It's always destruction, because they are demons. They're demons talking to the person. Okay? Because when the Bible warns us not to take drugs, I mean, there's a reason. See here, American found dead after taking ayahuasca. Kyle Nolan, young American. His body was found Tuesday near Puerto Maldonado in Madre de Dios. I think this is Peru. This young man from California, good looking, could have had a good life, but 18-year-old from small town in northern California, okay? And then he went to the shaman here, José Manuel Piñera, Mestre Mancoluto, okay? And he took ayahuasca and he died. Because I'll tell you, my friends, ayahuasca is very popular now. And it's such a poison that people, they throw up, they have diarrhea. It's like a poison, okay? Your body recognizes that stuff as poison, all right? So we've talked about this many times. There is, my friends, a natural protection that God gives us, okay? So when you see an evil spirit, even if you're not Christian, you get chills down your spine. You have this feeling of cold, okay? The cold air, the atmosphere, okay? It's cold, okay? You get goosebumps because it's a negative thing. Even if you're not a Christian, your natural protection that God gives you, okay, is enough to warn you. It's an alert, okay? And the same thing happens with the drugs. They don't do good for you. They're bad for your system, okay? And when people take this ayahuasca, if you don't know, my friends, this is a drug that was, Satan invented this thing. And the Indians in the Amazon jungle, especially in the part in Peru, they used to take that, in Brazil too, but mostly in Peru. They used to take that drug, and they have shamanic, shamans, things like that, witchcraft sessions where they take these drugs and they see things, they see spirits. So this has been with them for a long time, but even they know it's dangerous. It's not like everybody takes it because it's so dangerous. Because otherwise, it's like if the whole tribe would take this, everybody would go mad and kill each other, and So it's more like the shaman, and it's a special knowledge. Satan likes esoteric knowledge. Just a few people who know big secrets. And so basically that's what happens. And then some stupid foreigners, they found out about it. Here in Brazil, believe it or not, it was considered a religion. I mean, only in a Marxist regime, only in a Marxist government, such thing would be considered a religion. And our new Minister of Justice here, what in the United States you call the General Attorney, the General Attorney in Brazil. I mean, he's working for this corrupt criminal party here in Brazil. He was into Santo Daime. He was into ayahuasca. Can you believe that? I mean, see how it's all spiritual. We fight not with flesh and blood, but with spiritual powers, my friends, with demons. So the foreigners, they would go there, even on tours, small groups, 5, 6 people, and they have a structure already there. So you go there, and they have the houses where you can stay. You pay a lot of money for horrible facilities, horrible room, no running water, nothing, but you pay a lot of money, and you have to go there, and then they will take you into the jungle where they have the huts, and you go inside those huts at night, you fast the whole day, and then they will give you this ayahuasca thing. And my friends, I'll tell you why people go there. Most of those people, they have spiritual problems, they have oppression of their own. They have depression, severe depression, and sometimes it works. It removes the depression. Why? Because the depression was caused by demons in the first place. Okay? And so sometimes it works. The problem is that you get, 100 other demons instead. But usually, you know how Satan works? What he does is that he chooses certain people, and he tells his demons, okay, you can take over that person, all right? But do not kill him. Do not make him go mad, okay? Sometimes he even says, no, help him with money, connections, and things like that, because he's useful. He's useful in order to spread his religion or to spread false beliefs, okay? To advance Satan's agenda. That's why sometimes Satan does not destroy some people. Sometimes he destroys when there's no use for that person, like that American boy from California that went there to Peru and just died. Okay? But sometimes, like I'm going to read from an article from an American woman here. Well, she is very useful because she's been writing about ayahuasca in several different magazines in the world. So people now, they're very attracted, they know about it, they want to go there. So it's very important that I tell you, do not go there. It's horrible. It's bad for you, okay? I'm not doing this show in order to raise your interest in the occult, but to warn you. And you're going to see how horrible it is before we end this show, okay? There are some people, like this friend of mine who was into ayahuasca, and he left the cult because one of the times he was like having this experience of astral projection, when you leave your body in spirit and you can even watch your body below, okay? And so he was like watching his body, and he became paralyzed. He could not move, and he started to see lots of dark entities, dark spirits entering his body, and he was so scared. And people say it's just not like little fright. No, it's like you're scared to death. It's horrible. They say it's the most horrible feeling you can get. And those spirits start to enter his body, and he said, "Please, God, help me." When he said that, he went back to his body, woke up, and he ran away from that place, and he said, "I will never go back there." And then eventually he got saved because he went to church. Okay, and there's another one here. This guy I know, okay? I know this guy. He's a friend of mine. And there's another one here. This guy is called Thomas Carroll, and he writes here an article in a website called Against Spiritual Wickedness.com. And he says here that he participated in several ayahuasca ceremonies and a few San Pedro ceremonies in Peru, okay? Because he wants to see the inner vision, and have physical, emotional healings. That's what people look for, New Age is so powerful, Spiritism is so powerful because people look for healing, okay? And Satan, he can put disease on you. Do you remember the woman that had that problem in the uterus, that she had, bleedings and everything, and Jesus healed her because she had demons. That's what the Bible tells us. Okay? So Satan can cause disease. Okay? It's biblical. It's biblical. All right? That boy that was mute, he could not speak. Okay? And Jesus healed him and started to speak. And the Bible tells us that it was because of a mute demon. Okay? A mute spirit. It was a demon. Right? So what happens, my friends, is that, let's say that Satan will put this disease on you, and you start to have this depression. Sometimes you have this pain, and you go to the doctor, and you go several times to the doctor, and nobody can find anything wrong. And so what happens is that someone will say, why don't you try ayahuasca? Why don't you try, come to the spiritist center, come see this channeler. Okay, and then this guy puts his hand on you, or you take ayahuasca or something, and you are healed. Because Satan says, you can go now, demon, go now. Take away the disease. Because, my friends, you get rid of the physical disease, but now you have disease in your soul. Okay, you get attached to that demonic doctrine, that demonic religion that can send you to hell. That's what that's why Jesus said, do not fear those who can destroy your body, but fear him who can send your soul to hell. Okay, because your soul is much more important than your body. All right, I'm not saying that you cannot get healed. You can get healed if you ask Jesus. That's the right thing to do. You ask Jesus to heal you. All right? You go, you pray, you ask for the elders to anoint you with oil and pray for you. All right? And you rebuke that demon of disease, okay? I believe that, and sometimes because we live in a fallen world, there are some diseases that, are here because we get old, and this is, a fallen world. So some diseases are natural, but many diseases are caused by evil spirits, and you have to rebuke that evil spirit. You have to do that all the time, all right? Because you don't know, if there's there's a spirit there causing the disease, all right? So people, that's the trick that Satan uses, and he uses lots of acupuncture, Reiki, doing so many different, there's a list of 100 different techniques that they use, especially New Agers, to attract you into occult practices. They do that all the time. Okay, so he goes there and he says, he takes the ayahuasca, which means the vine of the dead or vine of the spirits, because through this vine one is able to communicate with familiar spirits. Okay. And do you remember there was this guy that they used to write about the mescaline, about the mushrooms? Mushrooms are just nothing compared to ayahuasca, okay? Nothing. It's just child's play, okay? So the shaman or brujo, the witch, attempts to communicate spirits for physical, mental, or spiritual healing. So he summons a demon or spirit to appear near you. And then in invocation, calling or summoning a demon or spirit to appear inside you. And this happens in each and every ceremony. It's not like, this is scientific ayahuasca treatment. No, it's always a religious session. Okay? All right. Then almost without exception, the person drinking this dangerous psychedelics prays to the brew, asking for spirits to enter his or her body. A direct invitation for demonic possession. Right? And then he presents here several different Bible verses that deal with the prohibition about dealing with familiar spirits. Okay, Leviticus 19. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. You see, you become defiled by the wizards. Leviticus 20. And the soul that turns after such as have familiar spirits and after wizards to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and I will cut him off from among his people. Come on, man. Can you believe that? Having God setting his face against your soul, that's not a good thing. And we have Deuteronomy 18. It's the most famous verse against witchcraft. There shall not be found among you anyone that makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, or that uses divination, enchanter, witch, etc. 2 Chronicles 33, same thing, and even in the New Testament, okay? And John 8, talking about those people being from their father, the devil. Okay, and 2 Corinthians, a warning: no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So people think these are good things. Okay, and basically, my friends, all people, even those who received Christ after they dealt with this thing, they say that sometimes they get healed. Okay, but there's a heavy price to pay. I'll tell you, it's much worse than the disease. Okay, what did he see here? All right, in the experiences that he had with ayahuasca, and also with something called the San Pedro cactus. Okay, it's another drug. Feeling entities entering my body. Some would crawl like spiders and tickle my throat. Because they say, when you drink that thing, it takes like 20 minutes and then you start to throw up like crazy. You feel like you're going to die. And then you see this horrible darkness around you. Because they turn off the light, okay? And then suddenly it's like, it's like the third eye, what they call the third eye. You start to see the spiritual world. And they say, like, I can see the things that are outside the hut. Okay, even if the hut it's closed, all right? And then they start, first thing that they see is a lot of snakes, spirits, and dragons, and they even spit fire. And crawling things and spiders. I mean, come on, those people, they pay to experience hell. I mean, how stupid can you be? To experience hell. And then they start to see demonic masks, horrible faces, demons, and they say that you have to stand firm, because the problem is the fear, okay? So if you can stand firm, and I'll tell you, those things, they last for 4 hours in average. So you have to stand firm, seeing all those horrible things and horrible feelings, because if you do that, then the so-called, quote-unquote, good spirits will start to appear. Okay? Because, my friends, that's how the demonic world works. You have lower spirits and you have higher spirits. They're all evil. But some are more powerful than others. It's just like an army. You have the private, you have the sergeant, you have the major, you have the general. So you have to wait until the general comes to you, okay? And then the general will look beautiful. And then that's when you're screwed, because, he will fool you. He will tell you lies. And you're going to believe it. Okay, so see, feeling entities entering my body. Some would crawl like spiders and tickle my throat. Others would slither up my spine as serpents, or eat at my heart like worms, working their way like through a rotten apple. I mean, that's wonderful. That's my idea of a good vacation. Hearing voices, whispers, screams, shrieks, groans, and laughter. They tell me things I want to hear. They also tell me of their suffering, and of mine. They promise great things if I will leave my body to see the other side, as they take my body to be on this side. It's amazing that many of those people who go there are women, and they're basically asking to be raped. Spiritually raped, okay? Grand visions of light, colors, geometrical formations. Well, this is, that's what they think it's fun. They think this is fun, okay? Seeing shadow people, spirits, aliens. You see that? Plant intelligences, mantises, and strange beings from other dimensions. You see how aliens are really demons? Because some people, they say, well, the praying mantises, aliens, they talk about this like it's, they're not aliens, they're demons. They're spiritual beings. Okay? They show resistance to being burned. During a San Pedro ceremony, I put my hand into the middle of a bonfire for 10 seconds. When I withdrew my hand, it was completely black, covered in soot and smoke. Yet it was not burned in the least. So see, this is an old trick. All the Hindu gurus, they do this. And because, my friends, why? Because, the demons, they are able to do something, create some energy, And this energy, it passes through to this material world sometimes, ectoplasm and those things. It's just tricks, really. They can, as I said many times, they cannot walk down the street. You will not find a demon walking down the street. But sometimes they can do, they have to use people, okay? Demons have to use people in order to have some effect in this world, okay? But sometimes they can do some spiritual tricks. It's just tricks, all right? Uncontrollable thoughts, especially mental images of knives, swords, and pointed objects, stabbing and cutting me, and loved ones. That's exactly what happened to my friend's brother. He had these thoughts, these voices, telling him to stab his wife and his children. Association of love and goodness with human feces. I mean, can you believe that? Near overwhelming compulsions to use profanity, insults to hurt, to hate, to degrade sexually. Hearing thumping, scratching, small footsteps running on the roof. Firmly closed doors open by themselves, doorknobs rattle and shake. Sudden coldness, the type that seeps into the bones. Retrocognition, seeing the past of certain people in intimate detail. I mean, this is when the demon, the familiar spirit in that person, tells you, downloads information about that person to you. Okay, they can do that. And same thing, telepathy, hearing people's thoughts and projecting my thoughts into their minds, especially the shamans. Why? Because they're both. The idea is that they are both at the same time in the spiritual level. So that's how you talk in the spiritual level. In the spiritual world, you don't need words. I mean, all the occultists, they say the same thing. Okay? So there is this spiritual connection. That's how they can talk. It doesn't mean that when they are out of the trance, when they are in the material world, they will never have the telepathic powers. Okay? This only happens because they're both out of their bodies in the spiritual world. Being in a catatonic state, sometimes with amnesia, voice tone changes, going from a low, deep growl to a very high-pitched hum, okay? Two distinct sounds coming from my mouth at the same time. Well, because the demons are talking at the same time. Multiple personalities. So you see, lots of people in the conspiracy circles, they talk about, it's a technique. It's not a psychological technique. It's demonic possession. All right? Seeing above myself and observing at least two personalities that I have, neither one being aware of the other. Seeing what one personality does, which the other is having a blackout. I think it's while the other is having a blackout. Intense vomiting, hacking, coughing, tearing. Unexpected mood swings, going from feelings of aggressive rage and violent behavior to deep depression and sulking. The feeling of being absolutely worthless and unloved. So you see, my friends, sometimes you see road rage, or those guys that, they just get mad. This demonic influence. Sleep disturbances, nightmares, out-of-body experiences, sleep paralysis, very common. Sometimes finding it extremely difficult to pray or to read the Bible, feeling unworthy, dirty, and unloved. And sometimes the contrary, feeling omniscient, omnipotent, and all-powerful. So my friends, I'll tell you, he gives some more verses here, Isaiah 8. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God instead for the living? And I'll tell you, my friend, this is very, very dangerous stuff, okay? And we're going to stop for a minute for a commercial break. And we will be back.
Hello, this is Professor Lamsrath from the Institute of Prophetic Studies in Southern California. Are you tired of going to church, yet getting nothing from it? Do you feel good on Sunday, but defeated by Monday? Does your church fail to equip you with the necessary tools to live out your Christianity? And does your church leave you powerless? Have you ever wondered why? Well, you are not alone. I strongly suggest you read Eyes to See, Unseen Enemies by Paul and Linda Villanueva. This book examines and explains the problems with so many of today's churches and ministries. You will learn about the false spirits invading churches and the occult practices that have crept into the house of God. More importantly, you will get the tools needed to protect yourself and the ones you love. Eyes to See, Unseen Enemies is available at all online digital book retailers such as Amazon, iBooks, and Barnes & Noble. Go to fifthhookmedia.com, fifthhookmedia.com for further information. This is Professor Lamsrath, and I am making Eyes to See, Unseen Enemies required reading in all of my courses. So I'll see you in class.
All right, my friends, we are back right now, and I want to show you a different perspective of this woman. That's another story of this woman who also tried ayahuasca, okay? Her name is Kyra Salek. She went to Peru, okay? And it's very interesting that sometimes we have now even occultists, people who are into Hinduism, they're warning people. They're warning people. They say, beware, because there's a lot of demons there. You are entering a very dangerous territory. I mean, even occultists, they're saying that. The problem is that they give you the wrong solution. They will say, oh no, you have to have your good guardian angels or spirits of light or masters of light, spiritual masters with you, which are, in my opinion, those guys are fallen angels, okay? They're higher in power and intelligence, and they can disguise themselves as angels of light, all right? And most of those spiders and things and snakes and, they're lower level demons, all right? So this is a lie. Is basically, like saying there's good witchcraft and bad witchcraft. And so that's what they do. They try to deceive you, saying, oh, you have to, look for the good angel, for the good spirit, all right? And then you get entangled in this mess that is even more difficult to escape from, because they really look nice. They look, it's only the power of God that will show the person who that spirit really is, okay? It's only the power of God if someone is praying for that person, otherwise it's impossible. That person is going to be deceived until the day he dies, and then he's going to hell, and he's going to be very surprised. He's going to be shocked that he's in hell, all right? So, very interesting. I have here this, it's a long article, and as usual, I'm going to post this in our Facebook page, Brother Marcos Radio, facebook.com, and also in the Fifth Hook Facebook page, Fifth Hook Media. And here it is. What happened? This woman, okay, she's a very, it's typical tough American woman, that she wants to do things by herself, a very tough and assertive person, intelligent. And what happens, my friends, that she had a severe depression. It's like very, very, very severe depression. And she went to Peru, and she got healed. Because, of course, her depression it was of demonic origin. She went there, she took ayahuasca, and she talks about her experience in here. That she really found some demonic beings there during her trip. And they would say, "You never leave here, never, never." But she was so strong, she said. I found myself laughing at them. This is the tough American woman, typical. "I'm not scared of you," I said. "You should." But the darkness became even thicker, emotional charge of suffering nearly unbearable. I felt as if I would burst from heartbreak. I felt the agony of humankind, the tragedies, the hatreds, the sorrows. And I reached the bottom of the tunnel and saw three thrones in a black chamber. I think she saw some part of hell, actually. Three shadowy figures sat in the chairs. In the middle was what I took to be the devil himself. "The darkness will never end," he said. "It will never end. You can never escape this place." "I can," I replied. All at once I willed myself to rise. My body felt light, at peace. And then she said, the next morning after the session, I discovered the impossible. The severe depression that had ruled my life since childhood had miraculously vanished. I think that what happened here with this woman is that the devil really tested her. Maybe if she was weaker, maybe she could have died there. But, since she's such a strong person, I think that the devil thought, well, I can use that person because she's so tough, she's so stubborn, she's so proud, she's perfect for me to use. I'm going to use this woman, all right? And then she goes back to the United States and, she starts to talk about her experience, how wonderful it was because she had been depressed all her life and now she's free from depression, and it's just like what happened to her. It was a person that had a vision, I think. Yes, a person had a vision or a dream, and they talked about this vision, said, I was told in this vision that you should go to Peru and take ayahuasca. So that's how the devil works. It's a big network. They must use humans. They must use people in order to achieve their goals. But the devils, the demons, they have this great network. And also will say, you should go there and use the demon in another person to talk to her. And then he ends up in Peru, okay? So she said, I'm back again. I'm going to go back again. Right, because I want to grow. I want to experience more things. It's just like spiritual pride, I want to see everything. I want to be. It's just like Gnosticism. I want to know more. I want to be more developed than you are. It's just pride and vanity. All right. And so she just goes there, doesn't tell anyone, not even the family. And because they would not understand, because she says that she was raised in the atheist family, all right? She was very prideful and arrogant about my atheism. And I'll tell you, my friends, especially Americans, Canadians, Europeans, when you are an atheist and you're very arrogant and prideful, and you experience this kind of thing, you have a mystical spiritual experience, you fall on your knees, okay? Because you never expected something like that. If you come from a culture where there's more acceptance of the spiritual, like here in Brazil or Latin countries or Africa, you know that there's good spirits and bad spirits, if you're not a Christian. So, your reaction is more like, well, but what if this is from the devil, okay? So you're more careful. But when you come from this first world cultures, atheist cultures, my friends, and you have this spiritual experience, it's like, I found the answer. You really think that you found it. And so she was there, okay? 33 years old, very tough, professional, everything. And then her story, it's crazy because she's a good writer, and she talks about going there with several different people. And, she found an American there, this young American. He is a partner of the shaman, the local shaman from Peru, the Peruvian shaman, and the American guy. They basically live there together. I don't know if they're gay or not, but probably they are. But anyway, they're there, okay, and they receive these people, all right. 9 p.m. in the evening, they meet in the main hut. Outside, night has taken over the jungle, which resounds with piercing insect calls. Okay, we will have 5 such ceremonies before going back to civilization. Each takes place at 9 p.m. Come on, if you have not ran away by that time, I'll tell you there's a problem with you. And so there's this guy the Americans call Hamilton. He looks like a surfer from California. And Don Julio is the Peruvian witch, okay? And so they just sit together. Everybody receives a plastic basin. Okay, they go inside the hut there, and they receive a vomit bucket. See how nice it is? It's a roll of toilet paper for wiping out our mouths after puking. That's lovely. That's so elegant. That's really, really lovely. All right? So that's what's happening. And then she takes like this thing that the taste is horrible. I mean, as the poison that it is. They start shaking, and they have all these things that we see in Santeria. It's basically the same thing. They have leaf rattles. They start to shake, and they have the cigars. They smoke, and they fill the place with smoke. It's all the same thing. It's dirty. It's horrible. All right, and then she starts really, to have feel the things. After 20 minutes, dark creatures sail by. Tangles of long, hissing serpents, dragons spitting fire, screaming human-like forms. For a bunch of hallucinations, they seem terrifyingly real. Okay, because they are. They are real in the spiritual world. My heartbeat soars. It's hard to breathe. I mean, it's a torture. Complete torture. And then the guy, the shaman, he also takes the thing. Okay? Because he thinks that he has power. Actually, his demons have power. His familiar spirits, the familiar spirits that are with him, they are powerful. Okay? So he can go with that person to the spiritual place where she is, and he can do things. He can defend the person. Okay? So the person will say, wow, this really works. All right? Okay. So she starts to see clouds of bats and demon-like faces. Everybody sees bats. This is not the first time that I see this. Black lightning, black walls materializing before me. Closer and closer. Hamilton, help me! On my way, Kira. Hanging there. Don't give in to fear. So that's what they say. You have to, just stand and fight the fear. Okay? And then she starts to have excruciating pain. It's horrible, my friends. I see dark, raging faces. My body begins to contort. It feels as if little balls are ripping through my flesh, bursting from my skin. Okay? And then Hamilton says, tell the spirits to leave you with ease. They won't. So, you know what she starts to see? Demonic-looking forms seem to be pulled from my body, one after the other. I mean, and they say, it's interesting that they say, it's just like, deliverance session, they say that she really got this attachment of demons when she went to a place in the mountains, okay? And I don't know if it was in some kind of ceremony or cult ceremony, and they say, no, that's when we got attached to her. And my friends, you know what happens? It was just a little exorcism, actually, what they say here. And she starts to throw up. And with the contents of her stomach, I mean, there should not be anything there because she had been fasting since noon. But lots of black balls of stuff, they come out. And it's horrible because at the end, in the last session, a small black snake comes out from her mouth with the vomit. It's just like exorcism sometimes in the church, Pentecostal churches. We see this here in Brazil. You know, when you have a deliverance session and the people start to throw up, and they throw up spiders and snakes, and that's what happened to her. So you see how demonic it is? The problem is that those demons, they left her, but then she starts to see beautiful things. You know, she sees God. There's this big guy with a beard, and she's like a giant. And she really, he takes her on his lap and says how much he loves her. And then she starts to see her previous incarnations, like herself, okay? And then, my friends, that's when she goes to the second level, because she starts seeing fallen angels. Evil, wicked fallen angels pretending to be her previous incarnations, appearing as angels of light, saying, "No, we are here to help you." So see how crazy this is? And she starts to see a little girl, and this little girl is herself. When she was like, I don't know here, 8 or 9, I don't know, yeah, something like that. When she was young, a little girl, and she says, I am you when I was a child, and I suffered so much, my childhood, it was horrible. And now you have to heal this bad feeling. And the Hamilton, who is with her there, in this spiritual place, says, you have to let this little girl enter your body. Call to her. You see, call to her. You have to give her permission. I do. I see her split into several little girls, each looking like me at a different age. One at a time, they appear to enter me, my body jolting backwards for each soul part, as Hamilton calls them, that was retrieved. So you see, she got rid of those low-level demons, snakes and the spiders and the horrible things, and then she gets like a dozen much worse spirits. It's exactly like Jesus Christ said. You cannot cast demons out from a person who is not saved. If you not preach Jesus and that person does not receive Jesus Christ, those demons will go to horrible places, dry places, and call 7 other much worse than him, and he will come back because he will find the house swept and clean. And that's exactly what happened here. She got like a dozen other much more powerful demons that will empower her to go around and write articles like this one. You see? And then, she really, really starts to see God, and she says that God is like Santa Claus. It's a guy with a beard, old man with a beard, and now she is so full of energy. She has the energy of Tony Robbins. She's in peace. Yes, my friends, that's how it works. And now she's ready to do 10 times more the work of the devil than before, because she was like depressed with low-level demons. So you go there and you exchange small, weak demons for very, very high-level, powerful, fallen angels and demons. Okay? Horrible thing. There's another article here from a guy that he is this big New Age Buddhist occultist guy here, very high up in their in the New Age world, and he says here, ayahuasca is not good, because he says that what he says is basically don't take drugs, do meditation, and because meditation is much more controlled and it's much more developed, So we have been talking about this for a long time, my friends. For a long time, okay? And he says that I have seen people, this is not occultists, okay? Very intelligent people, very articulated. He says that I have seen people who take marijuana and they get marijuana entities. So you see, that's the danger. It's not only physical, it's not only health. You get demons. You had cocaine demons, you have marijuana demons. That's an occultist that is talking about this. Okay? And he says, simply put, the vast majority of people I meet are affected by entities. So they know all about it. And he says that it's life-taking spirits or entities that devalue life, depreciate life, take from life, and even spiritists. Okay, here in Brazil, the spiritists, they say that you have demons. You know, the problem is that they give you the wrong solution. They say that you have to have a light spirit to protect you. All right, and very interesting because he sees those demons in other people somehow because of the demons that he has in himself. All right, and I'll tell you, I mean, they are warning you. They are warning you about this. Okay, they are warning you because they really think that they can have some kind of special development through meditation, and that's the good thing. That's what you should do, you know. And I am so concerned, my friends, because this kind of thing is entering the church, is creeping into the church, especially when you talk about spiritual formation, when we talk about contemplative prayer. Richard Foster, Thomas Merton, the Renovare Institute, you know, they have something called the spiritual director. You know, there's even a master's in seminaries now that teach you how to be spiritual director, which basically is a sanitized shaman, witch. He's a witch doctor for people in the West, okay, for people in America, in Canada, in Europe. And he will teach you to meditate, and he will tell you that this is prayer, but that's not prayer. That's a ritual in order to achieve mystical experiences, okay? That's the religion of the Antichrist. And we're going to talk about this in our next show. But I want you, my friends, to understand that it's the same spirit. It's the same spirit that makes people look for ayahuasca, and that makes people look for contemplative prayer inside the churches. It's the spirit that says the Bible is not enough. Faith is not enough. If I'm going through a problem, if I'm going through depression, if I'm going through hardship, you know, the Bible is not enough. It's not enough to understand, to trust the promise that the Holy Spirit is inside me, that Jesus Christ promised to be with me to the end of days, and that I should ask from Him in prayer, in normal prayer, like a conversation. Because I'll tell you, my friends, those guys, they think that, you know, the prayer of a child is not effective because they don't know how to pray. They don't know how to prepare themselves with breathing exercises and how to do their you know, silent exercises of meditation, visualization. So the prayer of a child for them is useless because they love esoteric knowledge, you know. And so it's basically the same thing. Meditation. Sometimes the people, they get a shortcut here and they go for ayahuasca, but they all end up in the same place. They all end up turning their backs to God because they don't have faith in God. But in this case of those pagans here, they have an excuse. They don't know Jesus. But people in the church, they don't have an excuse because they know Jesus. And they think they have been saved by faith in the sacrifice of Jesus, but they really need to grow spiritually by works. You know, they think that mystical experiences will bring sanctification and some kind of closeness to God, as if God is not close enough. He's inside your heart. the Holy Spirit is inside you. I mean, that's close enough for me. You cannot get closer than that. You have a spiritual connection with the Holy Spirit of God. He's God Himself. It doesn't mean that you're not going to face problems. And of course, what Paul said, we see through a glass darkly. We are still under the curse of Adam, because Adam used to talk to God face to face, and we cannot do that because we're in a fallen world. Alright? But people, they think, well, just plain faith is not enough for me. I need to have something different. I have to have some feelings and experiences and feel something, some kind of special peace. It's exactly what people look for through meditation. The pagans look for this. But we as Christians should have faith. Okay, even if we are walking through the valley of the shadow of death, we know that God is there with us. We know how? By faith, and not because we have special techniques, some special techniques imported from Eastern religions, from Hinduism, in order to feel that peace. The peace should come from our faith, because it's written in the Bible. Do you understand that? Do you understand, my friends, what Satan is doing to the church? How dangerous this whole thing is? The only difference here is one of degree, okay? People who go for ayahuasca, they just go all the way. I mean, in a sense, they're more courageous, because they go all the way. This other guy here, no, he meditates. You know, he thinks it's better to be careful. And Christians who are into the emerging church and contemplative prayer, oh, they have their backs covered, because they have been saved. They trust the cross for salvation. So let's just dip our toes in the water, because it's not that dangerous. But it's the same spirit. That's the same spirit. Why not, my friends? Why not just follow Jesus? He was a man of sorrows. He was a man of sorrows. He cried tears of blood. He taught us to pray like little children. The prayer of our Father who art in heaven is very simple. It's discursive prayer. It's just like a conversation. So I am very concerned about this. And I'll tell you, 2 Corinthians, I think this is interesting. I think I should add this as a final touch. Okay? Paul says here, 2 Corinthians 12, I must go on boasting. Although there's nothing to be gained, I will go on to visions and revelations from the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago, people say that this is Paul himself, okay? Was caught up to the third heaven. So he saw things, okay? But because of God, okay? It was not because he took ayahuasca, right? Whether he was in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows, okay? And I know that this man, whether in the body or apart from the body, I do not know, but God knows, was caught up to paradise and heard inexpressible things that no one is permitted to tell. The KJV says, which is not lawful for a man to utter. So you see, my friends, some things are mysteries of God. There's a reason why it's not lawful for us to mess with those things. Even in the case of Paul, when God himself took him to the third heaven, much more if you are the one who has the initiative to do the thing that is forbidden. And then he goes on and says, I will boast about a man like that, but I will not boast about myself except about my weakness. Even I should choose to boast, I would not be a fool, because I would be speaking the truth, but I refrain. So no one will think more of me than is warranted by what I do or say, or because of these surpassing great revelations. Therefore, in order to keep me from being conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. So I'll tell you, my friends, beware. Beware of where you're trying to go, of what you're messing with, okay? Because you see, the temptation of spiritual pride is so big, because everyone that sees this kind of things, he would think he is special. It's human nature. It's fallen human nature. It's the flesh. Immediately you think I'm better than the other people because I have seen all those wonderful things. It's just like this woman here, this Kyra woman here. You know, she thinks she has seen great things. Okay? And this thing, this danger is so big. It's so big that in order to keep Paul from becoming conceited, he was given a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment him. The KJV says, the King James Version, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. So you see, that's the danger of spiritual pride. It's clear, it's in the Bible. You want wisdom? You want to know how to live your life? You want to understand how the world works, both material and spiritual? Go to the Bible. Go to the Bible, because, my friends, we're living in dangerous times. We're living in a time when Satan is deceiving everybody, and people want to be deceived. They want to have their ears tickled, like the Bible says. You know, there's a fascination about those things. Nobody wants to suffer like Jesus Christ and carry a cross. Okay? And just have a simple faith. The gospel is not enough for most people. It's not enough. It's not enough to say, God, I'm here. I'm here. You know, hear my case. Hear my plead. And just trust Him. Trust. Like that beautiful hymn says, trust and obey. For there's no other way to be happy with Jesus than to trust and obey. That's what we should do. That's what you should do. Trust and obey, my friends. You know, flee from fables. Flee from crazy stories, from crazy ideas. Stick to your faith in Jesus Christ. Stick to Jesus. Okay? Walk with Him. Take His hand. Trust Him. Even though the world wants to fascinate you with crazy things, even though you are suffering hardships, trust Him. Alright? I hope that you have learned something from this message. And I pray that God will bless you, that you have a great week, and that we'll meet again next week. Bye-bye.
Trust and